Devin the Dream Haney is today's Lennox Lewis. Let's talk about
You still don't get it, do you? He'll find her. That's what he does. That's all he does. You can't stop him. He'll wait for you, reach down her throat, and pull her fucking heart out.
it. In 1991, the WBC stripped Evander Holyfield of his title for fighting George Foreman, but after arbitration, they put the title back up for the Holyfield versus Holmes fight, which Holyfield won, and also created a four-man tournament for the title. The fights created were Holyfield versus Bowe and Lennox Lewis versus Riddick Bowe, and all were agreed on um, by everybody. Like all parties agreed. That was the four-man tournament. The winners of those fights fight each other, and there's your champion. The following year in November, Riddick Bowe fought reigning champion Evander Holyfield for the undisputed heavyweight title and won a unanimous decision. A few weeks earlier, October 31st, 1992, in London, Lennox Lewis knocked out Razor Ruddock, establishing himself as the WBC's number one contender and setting up Bowe versus Lewis for the undisputed title. Riddick Bowe refused to fight Lennox, so the WBC threatened to strip him of his title by January 2nd if he didn't make his first defense against Lennox Lewis. So in a move that would hurt Bowe's image, Bowe beat the WBC to the punch and tossed the WBC belt in a trash can. At a news conference in London, Lennox Lewis's hometown, Bowe picked up the belt and dropped it into a large black garbage can. The WBC is wrong, he said, and I will not be intimidated by them. I am the heavyweight champion of the world, and today I withdrew my recognition of the WBC. I am stripping them. If Lewis wants the belt, he has to get it out of the garbage. Then we will call him a garbage picker. Later on in the day, the WBC counterpunched, stripping Bowe of the title he tossed in the trash and declaring Lennox Lewis the WBC's new heavyweight champion because Bowe failed to honor a written promise to make his first defense against Lewis. Bowe's manager put together a two-fight plan for the champion that does not include Lennox Lewis. April 2019, Mikey Garcia officially vacated the WBC title after losing to Errol Spence in March. Number one contender Luke Campbell was then set to fight number two Zaur Abdulayev for the title. However, Zaur couldn't fight until September at the earliest due to Ramadan. May 3rd, 2019, Luke Campbell and number three Devin Haney reached a deal to fight for the title in July, with Zaur fighting the winner in September, pending the WBC sanctioning the bouts. WBA and WBO champion Lomachenko petitioned the WBC Board of Governors to follow its rules that allow for the discretion to install another champion in the division as in the mandatory title spot. The WBC accepted Lomachenko's petition and denied sanctioning Campbell versus Haney with Abdullah for the winner. The WBC then established a four-fight tournament to create a mandatory challenger for the Luke Campbell Lomachenko winner. The bouts were number two Abdullah versus number three Devin Haney, and number four Teofimo Lopez versus number five Javier Fortuna. Arum pulled Lopez and matched him against Masayoshi Nakatani Tukituki, with the winner getting a title shot at current champion, also with the top rank, Richard Comey, stating that would set up Lomachenko to pursue the fourth and final lightweight belt following the Super Bowl in February. We're trying to bring some sanity to this thing, said Errol, which didn't make any sense because Teofimo Lopez was with Top Rank. Richard Comey was with Top Rank. Vasil Lomachenko was with Top Rank. So it didn't. If Vasil Lomachenko beat Luke Campbell, he could have fought Richard Comey anyway. The only odd person out would have been Teofimo Lopez. he would have become the mandatory. If he beat Devin Haney and Javier Fortuna, he would have been the mandatory to Vasyl Lomachenko. So there, you would have had 3 fights. Either way, it's either Teofimo, you fight the winner of Devin Haney. You fight Javier Fortuna, that's fight number 1. You fight the winner of Devin Haney Zaur, fight number 2. Then you're the mandatory for undisputed. You're the mandatory for the real undisputed because Vasyl Lomachenko would have beat Luke Campbell and then fought Richard Commey for undisputed. So Teofimo, you would have been the mandatory for undisputed, and it would have been all in-house with Top Rank. Or you could have went the other way, which you did. You would have had fight number 1 against Nakatani Tukituki, fight number 2 against Richard Commey, and then fight number 3 against Vasyl Lomachenko. So either way, you had the same number of fights for the exact same outcome, except for it would have been undisputed and not disputed. Devin Haney beat Zaur Abdullayev in September. With Haney being the only one that followed the order tournament, he was made WBC interim champion and mandatory to Vasyl Lomachenko. The same month, September, Loma requested to become the WBC franchise champion. And the following month, October 2019, at the WBC's 57th annual convention, Loma was granted his position and all mandatories were removed. At the same convention, Devin was elevated to the WBC champion. Javier Fortuna's November fight against unranked Jesus Cuellar, who was just destroyed by Tank Davis, and moved up to 135 and mysteriously was unranked in no sanctioning body, but mysteriously he's going to fight for the WBC title if he would have beat Javier Fortuna. But he ended up losing, which made Javier Fortuna the mandatory to Devin Haney. When both Lennox and Devin were coming up through the rankings, they were fighting guys with 5, 10, 15, 25, 28, 30 losses. The word around the boxing community was these guys are not fighting anybody. They said the same thing about Lennox Lewis. He's not fighting anybody, nothing but bums. That's what they say about Devin. He ain't fighting nobody, nothing but bums. But they fought their way up into the mandatory positions. And when they got to the mandatory position, the champions did things to avoid them. Whether it was Riddick Bowe, who threw the belt in the trash, or whether it was Vasyl Lomachenko, who requested to be a franchise champion. Both of the champions did something to avoid fighting their mandatories. And after both of the champions did something to avoid fighting their mandatories, both Lennox and Devin were elevated to the WBC real champion. After they won their titles, they both fought decent competition who anybody could say was maybe past it. I mean, Tony Tucker lost to Mike Tyson, but in the fight right before that, he knocked Buster Douglas out. Devin Haney fought Gamboa, who to this day, Terrence Crawford says is the toughest competition he ever had. But, you know, Tank Davis knocked Gamboa out. Lennox Lewis didn't beat anybody for the WBC title. He was elevated to WBC champion and was given the name Trash Picker for taking the belt from the trash can to become the champion. Devin Haney was given the name Email Champion from being elevated because Lomachenko refused to fight him. Devin Haney didn't beat anybody for the WBC title either. Again, because the champions refused to fight them. Riddick Bowe refused to fight Lennox. Vasyl Lomachenko refused to fight Devin Haney. And then after the fact, Riddick Bowe says he wished he would have fought him. That's the fight he wants, blah, blah, blah. Lomachenko saying the same exact thing. There is no difference here. But Lennox is praised as arguably the greatest heavyweight champion in the last 30 years. You know, he's praised. He's looked at as one of the greats, the legends. But he wasn't given a shot. He earned that. He worked his way up to earn that. Devin Haney wasn't given a shot. He worked his way up to earn that. They both were elevated. And then after elevated, That's when Lennox Lewis went on a tear. Let's just see what Devin does. Because he's trying to get all the smoke. And he's getting disrespected and shitted on for doing that. BFTB. Shout out to the LDBC. And I'm out.